were they, or were they?
Some of them were trained by Kopassus, which is the Indonesian Special Forces, and it was the Indonesian Special Forces who actually acted as the direct link between the TNI and between and the militia themselves. So guys like Gutierrez and others were pretty close. There were three major militia. There was the red and white. There was the Thorn and another militia group. But the Thorn and the red and white, which is the Indonesian colours, were the really well-organised militia and definitely quite close contacts with Kopassus. Some of them actually been trained by Kopassus in West Timor. No other questions?
I was just going to ask, why did Howard make it his business to contact them anyway in the beginning? What's your response?
That's the question. Why did Howard write to Habibie? Because the situation was a thorn in the side of our relationship with Indonesia as well. Because every time we tried to deal with Indonesia, political forces within Australia are saying you haven't resolved this problem, what they're doing next Timor. And with Habibie and Habibie's early intention, Habibie said when he took over the job, I need to look at this issue of East Timor and resolve it, whereas beforehand, Suharto and others were, and Noboa and others in the leadership there were saying, no, the only way to handle East Timor is to keep repressing it because we have to send a signal to the rest of Timor. So there's a lot of political pressure in Australia, and it was seen as an opportunity. And we were worried also about how long Habibie would last because he was quite erratic. And there was the Gus Dur was starting to appear on the scene, and Gus Dur is, of course, Islamic, and East Timor is Catholic, and we were very worried that if a new administration came in place that things would even get harder. So it was just seen as an opportunity to do it. I thought it was a risky one, but there was a lot of discussion about it, and I actually saw the drafts of the letter. I personally wasn't very happy about the idea of doing it like the Titanium Accord, the 10 years. I thought, and I didn't like the way that Howard signalled in the letter that Australia's preference was for East Timor to remain as part of an autonomous region within Indonesia. I don't think we should have signalled what sort of intentions or outcome we expected.
Michael, it would be true to say that there was a big head of steam within the Australian community about our weakness and failure over the last 40 years in allowing the interests of the Timorese to be sacrificed, and how we stepped aside in the 70s and let them in. I mean, there's a lot of, even now there's still enormous feelings in a lot of among people in the churches, and you know, that we've still got a job to do in there.
Well, that's right, Sam. The human rights issues, the church issues. Don't forget, at that time, the good times were rolling then in Australia. Australia was pretty sort of good economy. Things were running pretty well, and it's at that time when things are going reasonably well that major issues or other issues, external issues, then come to the fore. And so there's just an accumulation of things. And the service communities, particularly, which are pretty strong, and generally. We had, when we went to DVA, we knew where all the ex-servicemen were. They were putting a lot of pressure on their local members in relation to resolving this issue in Timor. There was a great deal of anxiety about it. Sister Pac Boy was out there as well, and so there was a feeling of obligation on our part to sort this thing out, and not just on a human rights issue, but because of the assistance that the East Timorese had given, or the Timorese people had given to the Australians during the Second World War, which really quite considerable and very well regarded.
Well, on behalf of us all, I found that extremely interesting. Really fantastic, Michael. Thank you for enlightening us on some of the internal things, and we never see. We certainly don't read them in the paper, this sort of thing, and they have first-hand experience. It's fantastic. Thanks so much. On behalf of everyone.